Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Nitty Gritty Cafe. If you're following us on Instagram or the NGC, if you're following us on YouTube, it's Learn Together. That's the name of the channel. Today we are talking about, can your marriage survive? No. So I'm going to try to make this quick and easy. I'm talking about saying no to each other as your spouse and saying no as a parent. Sometimes it's not easy for you to say no, depending on your personality. You might find it very hard to say no, either because you feel like people aren't going to like it when you say it, you feel you're going to be left out. It can be really tough, and for some people, it's a lot harder than for others. So, when it comes to your relationship is like a bank account. You have deposits, which are things you put in, and there are withdrawals, which are things you take out. So if you notice, I've only put maybe 7 things or 8 things in the middle. And depending on what you do or don't do, it can either be a deposit or it could be a withdrawal. So, for example, phone calls, which I talked about in the previous recording, phone calls is a deposit. It's a way to say I love you. It's a way to say I care and I'm thinking about you. Putting your spouse's needs first, affection, compliments, giving your spouse your full attention, do what you say you will. I should do a specific one about that one. And quality time. So these are just examples of things that you can do to make a positive impact on your marriage. If you don't do these things, however, it can become like a withdrawal because if you've not been putting anything in, but you keep taking things out, for most people, you will notice that if you put no money into your bank account and you keep taking out, if you have an overdraft, it might be there for a while, but then it's gone and there's nothing left. So, same thing happens with your relationship. So, no can be a little bit like a withdrawal from your marriage and from your relationship bank account sometimes because it is saying no, stop, don't want to do this. And it can seem that way if you've not put enough of the deposits or the good things into your relationship. So I want you to think about that because you want to make sure that you are consistently putting in so that when the time comes for you to take out, to say, no, can't do this, let's pause, it doesn't feel like, oh my goodness, the world is crashing in because there is nothing in the account to take it from. One day I should do another one about this, but let's have a look. In your marriage, ask yourself, why are you saying no? Is it just because you want to be stubborn or you're taking revenge? That's not a good reason to say no. So if you notice, the first one at the top says don't. Is it to protect your integrity or set boundaries? Then yes, that is a good reason to say no. Remember that saying no means you're going to disappoint somebody that you love and you care about. But if you keep saying yes, you may become resentful and feel manipulated. So it's having that balance and knowing why you are doing what you are doing. So, for example, you know, if one of you want to do something and it's suggested and you feel like, this is not something I'm comfortable with. This is not something I think we can afford. This is not a place I think we should be going. You should be saying that. Don't just go along with it because you know that's what will make your spouse happy, just because if it's going against your boundaries and it's going against what you think is right for the relationship at this point. Now, in saying that, you know that your spouse will be disappointed. So, for example, we're planning an exorbitant, lavish, you know, $20,000 getaway trip just because. And your spouse comes and he's like, we're going to do this. And you're like, but we don't have enough money to pay the bills. So, how are we going to take this trip? It is okay for you to say no. Let's pause, not do this for now, and wait till we can afford it and have things under control. Don't do it just because the other person will be happy, because then both of you will be unhappy when that $20,000 bill comes in. I am not saying you shouldn't have fun. Don't take that away from this. You should have fun, you should go places, you should have experiences. But if your boundary, if your comfort line is drawn at, okay, maybe we can take, a $500 trip, go to the next city, stay in a hotel for the night or the weekend, come back, then you should say that and you should make that known to your spouse. Okay? So, we know you don't want to disappoint someone, but it's not worth it for you to not say no, because it's going to lead to other things for you. What about as a parent? Why would you say no? We say no to our children because we want to protect them and we want them to to flourish and to be healthy. How many times have you had to say no to your child wanting, a whole bag of candy versus one? How many times have you had to say, no, you can't go here? Well, I don't believe in sleepovers, so no, you can't sleep over at somebody's house because I don't believe in them. I don't believe it's healthy. Too many children get hurt. So I say no. One of the things that is encouraged is for you to explain why you're putting up that boundary, why you're saying no. And this will also help in your relationship with your spouse too. Why are you saying no? So I will explain to my children. I say, you know what? Candy is not good for you. It's not healthy. Having one piece every couple days or once a week is not going to be, detrimental. But if you have 10 every day, that's detrimental to your health, but also to your teeth. And that's my job, to protect you, to make sure you're not hurting yourself. If I know it's hurting you, then I should help you to keep yourself safe. So that's one of the reasons. So you explain it. And saying no, one of the things to think about is that when you say no to one thing, so for example, computers, TV, tablets, games, all of this stuff is very popular at this time. And I know no child wants to hear you say, hey, you cannot use this thing. One of the things you can do is, when you say no, it's to replace it with something else. So for example, no, you can't spend 10 hours playing your games all day. And then use that time for a family activity. Do some board games. Go somewhere that you all like to go to and enjoy yourself, because saying no to that will then lead to something else that is positive, and make it something that's going to help to improve your relationship. So that's, as a parent, one of the things. I mean, you have to say no, because if you had to say yes to everything your children want, my goodness, you'd be broken living outside probably. Well, maybe that's just me as a parent, but usually they don't think about the cost of anything. They just want what they want, right? So, Christmas is coming up, and in North America, parents just go crazy, it seems, and they buy everything that the kids want. I don't know why, because Christmas is about the birth of Jesus, and yes, it's okay to give gifts, but it's not okay to go broke. It's not okay to do everything your children wants or everybody else wants. So that's another way to say no. Spend time together during the holidays. It doesn't necessarily have to be about gifts. That's just a side note from today. All right. So saying yes to everything is unhealthy. If, as a spouse, you continuously say yes, and I will say, I think the wife is more likely to say yes, I think, based on research, but I could be wrong. But I'm saying whichever one of you is more likely to say yes to everything. Now, if your personality is non-confrontational, which I find, if you have that type of personality, you want to say yes because you don't want to have a confrontation. But at the same time, if you do say yes to everything, sorry, you don't want to say no because you don't want that confrontation. But if you say yes to everything, then it means that you're betraying your feelings and you're betraying your health, because you're going to think about it, you're going to worry about it, whatever that decision is, and that's going to be unhealthy for you. It can lead to the other person becoming very selfish, because if you're always saying yes, then they take it for granted that you will say yes, and they go ahead and they do everything that they want to do. It can lead to you being resentful, as I've said before. But saying no, I'm not going to say no is always a negative. It can lead to doors opening to other opportunities. So you might say no to one thing, but it opens the door for you to do something else. But what I want you to think about today is, why are you saying no? As I said in the first or second slide, is it because you're seeking revenge? Is it because you're resentful? Or are you doing it because there's a boundary there and you really think saying no is the right thing to do? There's a time and a place for everything. There's a time for no, there's a time for yes. You have to decide why you're saying no. And today, think about it. Why are you saying no to whichever opportunity is coming? Is it because it's better for your marriage? Is it because it's better for your children? Is it better for the family as a whole? Um, think about it. Can your marriage survive no? If you've never said no or rarely say no, why are you not saying it? If you always say yes, why are you always saying yes? So today, the question for you, can you survive no? Have a fantastic day, everyone.